Hi everyone, I have been scouring eBay again for bargains and I came across this all-in-one PC. This I think was out of a school. I'm not sure of the brand Stone. I think they're used in schools or universities. Anyway, it's an 8 series i3, so an i3 8100. I picked it up for just over £20, around about $25. And as you can see, it's quite cheap for an i3 8 series all-in-one, and you kind of use this in a games room or something like that, you know, as like a little emulation machine. It should have reasonably powerful specs. You know, I'm thinking it'll play PS2. It should play like Wii, maybe some Wii U. Whether we can get it into PS3, I'm not sure, but we'll take a look. But yeah, I picked this up local to me. It's a great tip if you search like classifieds and collection only listings on eBay, because they tend to go for a lot less money than if postage is involved. And as you can see, I got this for £21, around about $25, so pretty big bargain really. Okay, let's take this machine apart and give it a good clean out. I want to replace the thermal paste. I want to upgrade the RAM from 4 gig to 8 gig. I want to give the fans a clean out. I'm probably going to just leave the SATA SSD. It does have Windows installed at the moment, but I think I'm going to plug in an external Batocera drive to it, and then I'm going to run it off that. It doesn't have Wi-Fi built in, so I will need to use a Wi-Fi dongle if I need to access the internet. One of the good things about Batocera is once you've got it up and running in the way you like it, you don't really need internet access, so you can kind of unplug the dongle. And so it's kind of a machine that doesn't really need Wi-Fi. But yeah, let's get this machine cleaned up and then we will try out some games. Okay, before we jump into the games, let's take a look at the specs on this machine. We're using Batocera 39. I've got it on a 5TB external drive. It's only a sort of mechanical drive, a laptop size drive. As you can see, it's got a Core i3 A100 CPU. We've got 8 gigs of RAM. Should have Vulkan support, OpenGL obviously. We're running in UEFI boot, which shouldn't really make much of a difference, but it is booted that way. It's got a turbo speed of 3600 megahertz. Let's take a look at some of the games. Let's start off with something simple. This is Mega Man 6 on the NES. Another really simple to emulate game is Sonic & Knuckles on the Genesis. This is a 16-bit system. This machine should have no issues running this. Okay, let's take it up a notch now with the N64. This is Cruising USA, which is running at 7 times its original resolution. This game usually struggles on machines that are a bit too low powered for it. Think like Super Console X type machines, Android boxes, that sort of thing. Usually mini PCs run this pretty well, but this machine is running it at 7 times the original resolution, which it looks really good. Still on the N64, let's take a look at GoldenEye. I just had to drop it down to 5 times resolution. Sometimes games won't play as well at higher resolutions than others. Some are more complicated to emulate on the same system. GoldenEye is probably one of the most difficult on the N64. I would say across the board though, I would expect to have 5 times resolution available on all games. But yeah, some will go up to 6 or 7. Another demanding system is the Sega Saturn. This is Panzer Dragoon 2 running at 1080p. This hardware is having no issues running this. On the Super Console X's, those sort of boxes, game sticks and stuff that you find, that will not run Saturn, so you're looking at, more powerful hardware such as this to be able to run those sort of games. And this is running it in 1080p, so it's highly upscaled and it's going to run pretty smoothly. I think this sort of hardware is the sort of thing you should be playing the Sega Saturn on. It's going to run really well. Okay, on to Dreamcast now. This is Crazy Taxi running at 4 times its original resolution. The Dreamcast came out after the Saturn, but is actually easier to emulate. You will find it on the Super Console X and kind of game sticks devices. They will run a bit choppy, they won't run perfectly, you probably get stutters, that kind of thing. This is running 4 times upscaled, no problems at all. Solid frame rate, running really well. A much better experience to play on hardware like this, I would say. Now with Dolphin Blue. This is 3 times upscale, which is slightly less than on the Dreamcast. The Atomic Wave was based on Dreamcast, I believe, and this is running the Flycast emulator, which can also emulate Dreamcast games. We were using the Redream emulator in the previous game, the Crazy Taxi, but you can use this same emulator for Dreamcast, just the preferred one is Redream. In this case, this game's running really well. I don't think Redream can do Atomic Wave, only Flycast, but the game's running really well. And although it's not upscaled as much as the Dreamcast, it looks pretty good. And this again will run much better than what same game would run on a Super Console X. They often do include this game in some of the better versions of Super Console X. Will play it okay, but I think you're getting a much better experience here on PC hardware. thought we'd take a look at the Neo Geo Metal Slug 3, which is kind of like inspiration for Dolphin Blue, which we were just playing. This is a great console. It's not one I had when I was younger. I think they were quite pricey consoles, but that's one of the great things about retro emulation, is that you can kind of try things and consoles that you didn't have as a kid, and you know, you've got the nostalgia for the whole genre, but you know, you may not have played these particular games, so now you can. Metal Slug, of course, has been re-released on loads of things like PlayStation, PlayStation 2, all different, you know, machines, but as it was so successful. But you can go back and play it on the Neo Geo through emulation, and that's what's so great about this hobby. Okay, now onto PlayStation, Bloody Roar 2, run at 5 times resolution. I usually pick this game because it's a good benchmark for how well games are going to be running at like a upscale, so I kind of think that most games will run at 5 times if this game will run in 5 times. And again, this system is not a difficult system to emulate. It's now kind of available on things like Super Console X and game sticks, but the issue with them is they do tend to remove the original soundtracks, so you don't tend to get the music and stuff because there's limited space on those devices. So once again, it is still a much better experience to play these games upscaled on PC hardware. PSP now, Outrun 2006, Coast to Coast. This is running in 2880p. This is massively upscaled from the original device, and this was a handheld device, but these games look great on a bigger screen when upscaled. These do run on a Super Console X and some of the game sticks, but they often don't run well, and they've got to use like kind of frame skipping, that kind of thing. Whereas here we're running at a decent frame rate, the game's playing really smoothly, and this was a handheld, but these games really play well on full-size screens with the upscale, so yeah, this just gives a new lease of life to these games on these Batocera boxes, really. Gamecube now with Mario Kart Double Dash. Gamecube's another weird system that was difficult to emulate. It's just a total no-go on your Super Console X's and game sticks, that sort of thing. And on this device we're running these games upscaled 2 times native resolution, which is 720p. It may be the odd game that can go up to 1080p, but I've found that this game is pretty demanding and it's running at 720 and it looks pretty good on this screen, so yeah, pretty nice. On to PS2 now with the Getaways. Black Monday, this is the second Getaway game. It seems to be running pretty well in 1080p. There might be the odd slight stutter here, there and everywhere, but it is running pretty well.
I don't want this to get messy. Take the door out. Fucking drop the weapon! Fuck you, get in there. Armed police, don't move. Right, fuck. Secure the area, mate. Make sure those fuckers are handcuffed. Well, I'm out in cuffs, Mitch. Get off my case, will you? What's your status? There's no drugs, sir. I don't believe it. Keep searching.
On to Wii now with Mario Kart Wii. This has been upscaled to 720p. Looks pretty good. Running pretty well, I think, on this machine. I don't think it will struggle to play Wii games particularly, and at double the native resolution. On the Wii U now with Mario Kart 8. I did find this game to stutter a little bit at the beginning. I think that's normal with this game because it needs to compile the shaders and what have you. So it does get smoother as you play the game. And I think by the time the end of this sort of level that I was playing and this track, this circuit, it was playing pretty smoothly. And so I think that, you know, if you were to play through this game a couple of times, I think it would be fine. I think it would play pretty well on this system, to be honest. Thought we'd take a look at how a Game Boy Advance game looks on this screen. This is Sonic Advance. This isn't the biggest screen, it's not a massive TV or something like that, so this is not like a 55-inch. This is looking pretty good to me, even though this game was originally designed for a handheld. There's no upscaling going on. I think it just looks pretty good as it is. Okay, now this is where we start to find the limitations of this system. This is me trying to load a PS3 game. It does load, but look how long it's taking. You're talking about sort of like 5, 6, 10 minutes to compile the modules just to actually start playing the game. So you kind of have to wait that long. I think it only needs to do it once, and then once it's done it, they will be loaded. But let's have a look at the gameplay, because it did eventually load and the game did actually work. It wasn't like the kind of smoothest experience. It kind of felt a bit, I don't know, weird, but it was playing. So it is possible to play PS3 games on this system. On other systems I've tried previously, the games just didn't run. They just kind of, you know, so machines that were lower spec than this just kind of didn't even, you know, load the games up. I don't think they could even load them. But this is playing, you know, this is actually playable. Now, I don't think you're going to be playing God of War or some of the more demanding games, you know, the big franchise games like Last of Us and that kind of thing. But, you know, maybe some of the smaller games you will get to load. And this was playing. I mean, it was definitely playable to me. It didn't feel, it felt a bit weird. It felt like kind of slow, but it was running. It didn't feel like stuttery. It just felt kind of, yeah, just like, it just didn't feel like a PS3 console, but it was running. So it is an option, you know, if you just want to play the odd game, but I wouldn't expect to play anything major on it. Okay, so to sum up, this machine can play pretty much up to PS2 pretty well. You can play a bit of Wii, play some Wii U as well. Haven't tried extensively games, but I think they will play okay. But PS3 probably is a bit too far for it. You will be able to play the odd game, but it's going to take ages to load. But all that being said, I think for the £20, £21, $25 that I paid for this, you know, all-in-one PC, you know, it's a screen and a PC all in one, and it's like a bargain. And I think you can save a lot of money if you search around on, like, you know, Facebook Marketplace, eBay with collection only, Craigslist in the US, I think, you know, Facebook Marketplace there, possibly eBay as well. You're probably going to be able to find bargains, because I find that when there's postage involved, people will kind of go, oh yeah, I'll buy that, and so they'll bid on it. And because they're not, like, you know, not necessarily in the right area, they're not really bothered, because someone's going to pack it all up, they're going to post it off to them, they're just going to open the door and receive the package. When you actually have to get in your car and go out and get something, people kind of get a bit less interested. So I think the people that sort of rely on collection only end up kind of making their item cheaper. So I think it's, yeah, it's a real, if you're looking for a bargain device, it's well worth looking around. I mean, even boot sales as well in the UK. I don't know if you have boot sales in the US. But yeah, basically looking for collection only in your local area, I think you will often pick up things much cheaper than the average market price. And, you know, I've got this, you know, 8 Series i3 all-in-one, which is, you know, running really well and could be used as like a kind of normal PC, really. You know, pretty good sort of desktop PC for doing your work on. You know, if you're just doing like kind of web browsing and Word documents, that kind of thing, it's definitely going to do that too. So, you know, for £20, it's kind of a crazy price. So, yeah, definitely worth looking around listings and trying to find something, because it, you know, I think you will find things that, you know, collection only, that are an absolute bargain. Anyway, hopefully that video was useful to you. Hopefully that will give you an idea what you could do. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you like the video, give it a like. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. It's a little thing for you to do, but really helps out the channel. Helps out with the YouTube algorithm. So thanks very much. If you could like, subscribe, share to people, that'd be great. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you again in the next video.